Hi team, this is Dr. Stephen Newhart. I'm coming to you today to discuss something that we like to talk about, personal best. And the real point of this is to kind of figure out if you are in fact living at your personal best or not. And the more you think about it, the greater meaning it'll actually have to you. But I do challenge you today to ask yourself if you feel like you're living the life that you were meant to live as you were placed on this planet or born on this planet, okay? And that is an extremely important question, because I believe that if we are living our personal best, if we are living the life that we are supposed to be living as a human on earth, then everything in your life changes. Everything becomes more clear. Everything starts to make more sense. I've been through this transformation myself. Okay, so now let's bring it out to you, and we'll kind of just discuss, right? So when was the last time you actually sat and thought if you were living your personal best? Or have you ever? Is it kind of a blanketed feeling that you have where you're just sort of blindly going about a certain job or a certain way of life and not ever questioning that? And then more importantly, to think when your older years come and it is time for you to leave the earth, are you going to have any regrets that you didn't stop, that you didn't make a change, that you didn't live your personal best for you, your family, and the people around you? Because if you make this switch, there will be no regret. Life will be fulfilling. Everything will make sense. So, as you've sat here and listened to that introduction and you've thought, am I living my personal best? If you're not, I want you to ask yourself why. Why do you feel you're not? Do you feel like it's an energy issue? Has your energy been stripped away from you and you can't understand why? Do you feel like you have to take multiple naps in the middle of the day? You don't have the energy to get up and play with your child, your grandchild, right? Or to do things with your spouse, things like that. It's just, and why? And after we've researched into these things, we've found that there are some main contributors in society of today that could be causing these problems, okay? So we're going to aim kind of at food, social media, and other addictive man-made ingredients that could possibly be the culprit of this. So I ask this of everyone. Do you honestly believe, and this going back to points that I've previously made, that you were put on this planet to do a job that you dislike or hate? I can't tell you how many people I survey who actually say, I'm just collecting a paycheck, right? Do you think that that's what you were intended to do, okay? And you only have time in your life to come home and watch TV and eat food and essentially not use your body what it's intended for, which is to move, in which case then your body starts to scream out in pain. You reach towards medications. And once again, that overall lack of energy, I don't want to call it laziness because it's not necessarily your chosen avenue, but your body's just screaming out that it needs help. So we're going to go over today why this could be happening and what's possibly causing it, and then focus on something that might give us an answer. Okay, so let's focus on two things that we're just gonna narrow out today, and they are hormones in your body, and they've been studied for a long time, and these are serotonin and dopamine. Okay, dopamine and serotonin are hormones released into the body that give your body reassurance that the previous activity you just partook in is something that is purposeful or giving you meaning, something that you're supposed to be doing, right? And there's plenty of healthy activities that you do that promote these, right? By being in community with people, exercising, right? Working at a job that you actually enjoy and is leading towards fulfilling or assisting, aiding mankind. These all are positive things that still give you the serotonin and dopamine release that we'll discuss. So that was kind of discussing in the world of today. But let's talk about our genetic code. Okay, so for let's just say 20,000 years ago, okay, our body's prime purpose was to do things like hunt, gather, take care of our tribe, build shelters. It was a very active lifestyle, okay? And now you're going to say to yourself, wait, okay, well, it's different now. I don't have to do all those things. Well, guess what? The human being is the same, but the environment is different, okay? I mean, really soak that in, because that's really one of the main reasons why everything that we're discussing today, not living your life's purpose, could be happening, okay? Your genetics haven't changed, but you're also not performing the same amount of activity, possibly for the same purpose that you used to, okay? Those activities that we're talking about in hunter-gatherer times, they released a lot of serotonin and dopamine. There was a lot of purpose. There was a lot of happiness. There was a lot of belonging, okay? It created more community. And all of this told your body, yes, you're doing something great. You're meant to be here. You'll live a long, prosperous life. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be great. And we would go around with that sense, okay? So, now that we've kind of identified our genetics and two hormones that make us feel purposeful every day, once we actually complete something that we perceive to be purposeful, let's talk about ways that we falsely create this, okay? So, in the world of today, we try to simulate what we were doing before that was raising serotonin and dopamine with false ways of raising serotonin and dopamine. The only downside to this whole thing is that a lot of the man-made ways to increase serotonin and dopamine cause very negative side effects. And we're seeing a lot of that in the world right now, right? We're getting a lot of negative side effects. And if you really just want to put it a certain way, it leads to faster death. It takes your life from you and removes you from the planet faster. Those are what the false or negative ways of raising your serotonin will do. What are some of these? Okay, so we can go into sugar to start off with. This is now we're getting into food, right? So I don't have to be the first person to tell you about sugar. You know, Robert Lustig is out there talking about sugar. Dee McCaffrey has mentioned sugar in her book and the negative effects that happens there, right? Sugar is something that when you consume it, your body thinks it's happy because you're going to survive longer because you have energy. Now, in primitive times, when you would consume sugar, it meant that you were probably going to have energy for the building of homes and collecting food and hunting and things like that. That was a positive thing, but times have changed. We don't have that much activity in our lives anymore. You might see people that exercise a lot. And you're thinking, well, why can they do it but I can't? Right? Well, it's because they exercise a lot. They're possibly still doing as much movement as their primitive counterpart may have done. Okay? And let's talk about social media and what's happening there. We already discussed that in past times and still current times. You know, in the religious spectrum of things, people gather at churches, they worship, they're in community, right? Those are positive things that create serotonin and dopamine, being in community. What have we done now? We've taken electronic sources and kind of acted as if we're in community. Well, it turns out that it's not working the same way that we thought that it would. Because you have data out there that social media sources actually are causing more depression than they are good. Right? So that might be a way that social media, or even, I don't want to point the finger at social media, but just electronic sources in general that feel like you're bringing people together. It's not bringing people together. So we're not getting the same result. Okay? Sure, it raises the serotonin and dopamine. It gives you that happy feeling once you've been on, you know, the social media and, oh, look at all my friends. But at the end of the day, your body gets away from that for a second and realizes that you created no community at all. Because when you're actually with a person, you create a long-lasting relationship with that person. But something that you're getting off of a social media or the internet source, it's not going to create any of that. Okay? It's not going to create the same feeling of relationship and community that you had before. So therefore, there is a negative side effect. And just an additive here, once your serotonin and dopamine are falsely raised by, let's say, sugar or a social media or something like that, and then your body discovers that it was false, you get an extreme drop. Okay? Now, we have so many people in the world today suffering from depression that it's hard to ignore any longer. Why is this happening, right? Why is depression occurring? After that serotonin and dopamine have been inappropriately spiked, they drop hard, they drop fast. And during that time where they have dropped, until you might run back to the food source, run back to the social media, run back to the television, right? Where you're kind of living this false life that's someone else's, or things that you wish you could be doing. It just isn't the same. And it causes further depression, right? So, with all that said, we try to intervene now. We try to bring this to light to people. We try to get you to understand what's going on and why you possibly might be feeling that depression, right? Why your body might be changing in a negative fashion, right? It's the weight gain, it's this, it's that. And then there's social withdrawal. Could lead in divorce. Could lead to, not being around your family any longer. Whatever it's going to lead to, these are all negative side effects. So we have to recenter our mind. We have to understand what we're doing to ourselves. We have to focus back on our food sources. We have to understand that the electronic, forms of community that we're trying to use, they're not working the same way we thought they might. In which case, getting back into real environments with real people, maybe that's the way to go. Maybe there's not a substitute for that, right? So, with all this said, everything that I and my partners will always stress is exercising the body, which is huge. And now we've gotten to a point where, from my belief, the reason why our country has 17% participation in activity is because we have set the whole system up in the wrong fashion. I use a dodgeball example. Dodgeball for kids. Okay? This is not my opinion. This is out there. You can read this. Dodgeball is a game that the slowest, weakest child is out of the game first. Contradictory to that is that child is the one that needs the most activity. The gym industry is somewhat the same, or the fitness industry, or the way to reconnect your body and spirit or whatever together. It's the same. The people that are prone to do it are the ones that do it. And the people that are not so prone to do it, they don't typically show up. Sometimes they do, but once they do, automatic non-acceptance already is felt by them. There's obviously certain places you can go where acceptance is there, right? There's certain fitness centers, certain things you can go to where you get accepted. And it's just because the population and the workers, they're much different. But in most of those cases, it's no, right? And that is my belief to current time. I'm spending the rest of my life to change that, because the people that need to be doing the activity are actually forced out. They don't feel welcome. They feel like a person that doesn't like to dance in a nightclub. You can do analogies all day. And after they don't engage, after they've felt like they don't want to show up, they continue doing all the food, the social media, the lack of activity. Their life just kind of goes down in the negative direction. So I've also found a device that requires very little effort from people that are exercising, to where, as you'll go look, it's called whole body vibration. We use a specific vibration platform. It's incredibly easy. So the 83% of people that don't want to go to the gym because they don't feel comfortable, or because it maybe at that point it's become too difficult, we have something to intervene there that'll help you move your body. Remember, back to the beginning of the talk, it's about moving your body, right? That's one of the first ways to get your serotonin and dopamine to raise back up, to give you a happy feeling, right? And we have to insert something that's going to meet people where they are at their current fitness level. And I believe it to be a tool that is just the most perfect thing we can find for this situation. Okay? It can be done in your house. It can be done privately if you want to. If you want to, you can click on to our interface platform and see people if you want, right? After you do that, maybe it leads you to going somewhere to be in your community with these people, to exercise together, to be in community. So we offer those solutions, right? And then we offer education. We offer education for sugar and poor eating. And I promise you, if you think, in the world of today, if you think you're eating clean or healthily for your body, you're not. I'm the first one to say that, because even as a personal trainer, I had no clue until I read Robert Lustig, Dee McCaffrey, till I read their information about the word food toxin is a little bit, in my word, too aggressive, but there are things in the diet that make you sick. Let's just put it like that. Not sick you can feel like I just got sick, but it's a slow sick. It's the reason why all of a sudden now I need all these medications. I don't know why. Well, high fructose corn syrup and bleached sugar and bleached flour is on all the food you're eating, right? What does that mean? We need to discuss that. Okay? So we come in, we try to offer these things, we try to get people to understand. You need to understand, if depression or if medication or sickness is part of your life and you have somewhat just decided to accept that, don't accept that. That's not the solution. That's not the answer. Your quality of life can be 10,000 times better, right? So let us help you, is the idea. So today we understood that essentially the reasons why we feel happy and we have a purpose is because we're out there doing very specific things and we're avoiding very specific things. And so take it seriously. Stop, think for a second, right? Think about your own life, your own purpose. Understand there's a reason why sometimes you feel happy and sometimes you feel very, very sad. And let's move through it and let's reach out, let's talk to each other, let's get help, right? So everybody have a great rest of your day, and we will reconnect very soon.